What does it mean to stand in your power, and how can that be done? In this video, I'm going to share the story of a remarkable person who learned to do this at a very young age. I think you'll find this story to be very inspiring. Hello, I'm Marcus T. Anthony. I'm a futurist, and in this episode of Power and Presence, I'm going to be talking about personal futures. That means the futures of people like you. The truth is that to stand in your power, you have to first decide what kind of person you want to be, including what your most important values are, and then begin to embody that. This is what is known as beginning with yes. It's only from there that you can confidently decide what to say no to, because if you don't know where you're going, you can't even know if you're being distracted from your future vision. For as Indistractible author Nir Eyal states, there's no such thing as distraction if we don't have something of greater value to be distracted from. You can't say no to what is unimportant if you don't first know who you are or what you want. Mindfulness and introspection can be a key part of intuiting who we are at a deep level. Cultures and societies which operate from what I call deep futures ideally encourage deep questioning amongst their citizens. A failure to do so may result in less embodied money and machines futures. Dystopia. Learning to stand in our own power is a process of trial and error, one that may take many years. I know it's true in my case. But for some people, that self-belief comes quickly and naturally. New Zealand pop singer Lorde is such a person. Lorde was given her first recording contract at 13 years of age and was an international pop star by the time she was in her mid-teens. Nonetheless, though she seems to have already lived many lives in a single short journey, Lorde has had to learn from experience. There's an ancient saying from the Hindu Upanishads, neti neti, that is quite relevant here. Not this, not that, but this. Lorde is unusually good at standing her ground and saying no, and she's been of that nature since she started out in the music industry. When she was 16, she had her first major international hit, Royals, which made the US Top 100 charts, became number one in the UK, and won 2 Grammys. The single was about the simple life she lived with her friends growing up, and dealing with mundane problems like pimples, unruly hair, and boredom. Lorde refused to romanticize the song, the film clip, or the marketing images. This is probably why her largely teenage audience immediately empathized with it. The film clip of Royals features Lorde's real-life friends, Callum and Robbie, looking like ordinary teenagers and doing ordinary adolescent things. Its authenticity became its coolness. Lorde declined to allow her face to be used to promote Royals because she didn't feel the song was about her specifically. Then she told a record company that she wanted to distribute it for free. Her seniors bowed to her innate wisdom, only monetizing the song 4 months after its release, by which time it had already been downloaded 60,000 times. The song then became a global hit, selling more than 10 million copies. But life is not all peaks, and in mid-2018, Lorde's journey traversed a dark valley. This was when the then 21-year-old Lorde returned to her home country after completing an extensive world tour, and immediately erased every single one of her social media accounts. Why did she do this? Well, just a month earlier, she'd shared a seemingly simple post on Instagram, consisting of an image of her hotel bathtub and accompanied by the words, "And I will always love you." The post was immediately hit by a storm of spiteful comments, going viral far beyond the boundaries of Lorde's 20 million online followers. It went so viral that it was widely featured on major mainstream media outlets, including CNN and BBC. And the furore wasn't because Lorde didn't know how to capitalize I. No. What had outraged so many and ignited a wave of scorn was because pop icon Whitney Houston had died in a bathtub some 6 years earlier, and I Will Always Love You is the name of one of the American singer's most famous songs. Lorde apologized repeatedly, but the mob would have none of it. Here we can note several of the operational features of what I call meme world. The online throng knew the meaning of Lorde's post, even if Lorde didn't. The meme being circulated and its embedded story became the truth. And even if the critics had never previously heard of the young Kiwi woman, they just knew that she was a bad human. Lorde had been mimeticized, her image rendered dark, loud, and twisted across viral space. Stories like this one, where a celebrity accidentally evokes online outrage by writing or saying something that triggers people, are now almost a daily occurrence. Yet, what is unusual about the Lorde incident is what happened next. Within weeks of making that post, Lorde's Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube accounts had all disappeared. Lorde had had enough. The Kiwi singer had quickly sensed that her connection to her deep self was fading. She realized that she was becoming highly addicted to social media, leaving her, in her own words, with a deep exhaustion at the end of each day. In a 2021 Sydney Morning Herald interview with journalist Amanda Hooton, Lorde had this to say about the incident, and I quote her directly. "Eventually I decided I didn't want to feel that way anymore. It's a lot to ask of your fans and your community that they be okay with not seeing your face for years at a time. But for me, all I have is the work that I make and the songs that I write and the state of mind that I have to be in to do that. And I had a sort of slow realization about my experience of being on social media, which was that I was starting to feel like I was losing touch with the part of myself that could think at its own pace, even to an extent the part of myself that had free will." Lorde's decision was a courageous one. She simply cut off the most direct channel to her millions of fans and customers. But for her, it was all worth it. Her sense of well-being soon returned. She said, and I quote again, "It's one of the best things I've ever done for myself. I feel so much steadier in who I am now. I don't feel like I need to compete with my peers." Unquote. In other words, having extracted her sense of self from the external locale of social media, Lorde learned to stand more deeply in her power as a young woman. The way I see it, she's now grounded in her deep self and returned to operating from within her own story, her own frame. Despite some trepidation, the move was a great success for Lorde, and her record sales remained very strong. Her June 2021 album, Solar Power, was streamed more than 50 million times within 2 months. And as far as I'm aware, she remains as committed as ever to her online self-cloaking, preferring to write a regular newsletter as her means of communication with fans. Yet, in something of an irony, her name regularly trends on Twitter, or X, if you prefer. Lorde knows who she is and what she wants. She loves writing and performing pop songs that tell honest and genuine stories. She came to this realization as a child. It gave her a sense of rightness, certainty, and deep pleasure. This is the embodied knowing of the deep self. And she continues to honor that and the art form that permits her to express her true self. She states, "I have such reverence for the form. A lot of musicians think they can do pop, and the ones who don't succeed are the ones who don't have the reverence, who think it's just a dumb version of other music. You need to be awestruck. I still totally feel that. I still just love pop so much. It's my dream. And making it, I feel like I just get to play all day. It's as much fun now as when I first wrote a pop song and was like, what is this? What is this incredible feeling that I'm feeling? It's still just the same." Lorde possesses a maturity far beyond her age of the late 20s. And that in part stems from her ability to regularly reflect on whose frame she's in, the story. Speaking in 2021 about her 2017 second album, Melodrama, Lorde revealed that at one time she had started to dishonor her instincts. He says, and I quote again, "I think I still sort of feel like, oh, the music has to get to this number on the chart, and it's got to sell this many of this. And now I'm like, it's all good. I know that it'll be fine, and people will love it. You just grow up, and I feel so much steadier in who I am now. I don't feel like I need to compete with my peers. In this way, Lorde took back the frame and her power. Lorde's courage and conviction have been rewarded fabulously, but no doubt there's a kind of childlike naivety in her as well. I would therefore like to suggest a certain caveat. We should not delude ourselves that Lorde's was a risk-free strategy. There's no guarantee that we will get what we want every time we surrender to the universe and choose to trust in the outcome. Standing in your power isn't about controlling the outcome. It's founded upon the knowing that even in failure and rejection, we know that our deep self cannot be shifted. We have to acknowledge that there are valid reasons why artists, actors, writers, and celebrities tend to be so active on social media. Adam Holt, head of Universal Music New Zealand, for example, notes there's enormous pressure on public figures to maintain their online presence. Holt states, "From a business side it works. You're keeping the pots boiling all the time, which gives you a lot of opportunities. If you want to stay in the game, it's the way of the world. All artists do it, and the really successful ones are incredibly good at it." Lorde's decision to trust her intuition and pull out of online life was both brave and successful. But each of us has to reflect on the path that is most appropriate for us as individuals. In my life, I've often followed an approach to decision-making that is similar to Lorde's, and trusted my gut instincts, my integrated intelligence. But that has not always led to success, nor to the outcomes I was seeking. Indeed, I've probably experienced more rejection and failure than most people. But I usually listened to the feedback that life was giving me and have persisted in those areas where I felt it was warranted, even though, to be honest, at times I felt like giving up. And today, I get to enjoy a very satisfying professional life where I basically get to live my passion. But I admit that it's been tough at times. The cup doth not always runneth over. Sometimes it's bone dry. But to borrow the words of Henry David Thoreau, if you advance confidently in the direction of your dreams and endeavour to live the life you've imagined, you may just meet with a success unexpected in common hours. See you again soon in the myriad futures and on the road less travelled.